Felon's in for a very bad weekend. Let's look into that. Welcome to Scrying Out Loud. My name is Trevor. First off, a huge thank you to everybody who subscribed to the channel. Thank you for liking, watching, sharing the videos. Your sharing of the videos and commenting on the videos really help the algorithm push the videos to more people. So for that, a huge thank you. And if you've donated money to the channel through Buy Me a Coffee, Super Thanks, or Venmo, a big thank you. It's all greatly appreciated. It feels like something that the felon's just going to have a really bad weekend. So I think part of this is that the Epstein stuff is just not going to let go. I think that there's going to be something around the Charlie Kirk murder that makes the felon look bad. So we'll look into that as well. Uh, Perhaps could be some scandals involving the FBI with respect to the Kirk murder, and maybe some shakeups in the government. That's a possibility. And then, as always, I think we always need to look at his health because I really do think that time is approaching. So let's start with Epstein. So, what do we need to know about the Epstein just ongoing craziness in the felon circuit? Is there going to be more stuff coming out? I think the FBI has lied, the Department of Justice has lied for the felon. So more coming out. I keep seeing the Seven of Swords. I think there's a lot of this lying coming out of federal agencies about this. I think it's all going to get exposed eventually. Not sure how soon, but I think we might hear about some of that this weekend, at least the accusations. Let's see. Yeah. Yeah, we get the Knight of Swords. Something swiftly happening here with the Epstein stuff. The UK fired their ambassador to the US for being part of the Epstein birthday book. So I think we might hear more things along those lines. And we do get the King of Cups here. This is my card for the Democrats. Democrats aren't going to let this go. I don't think the public is going to let this go. Everybody wants to know what's going on. And we get justice. This is a good sign. I think justice is going to be sought here. I don't know if this administration is the one that actually carries it out, but I think nonetheless, justice is coming for the people that are in the Epstein list that did wrong things. There's some sort of message coming forward this weekend, though, that might not seem important, but later on it'll turn out to be quite important. I feel like we're going to have to wait for that to happen, though. It feels like with the Hanged Man here at the center of the reading that we might not realize the importance of what's released this weekend right away. But I feel like it's going to be really important stuff. And we get the Sun card too, the truth emerging, light being shed on the darkness and really letting out the truth. And we get the Six of Cups. This always appears whenever we're talking about Epstein, the intergenerational relationships card. It just does. And the Queen of Wands, a prosecutorial type energy that'll be very welcome. Don't forget, in the US, it doesn't have to always be the federal government that brings charges. States can do their own investigating as well. And we get the High Priestess. Something's going on behind the scenes here. It feels like it's like almost multinational. Like there's like this huge kind of multinational investigation into a large group of people. That's what it feels like. I guess we'll see. Do you think, we'll hear something soon? We might not know the importance of it right now. Um, but there are people working behind the scenes here to understand everything that's there. This is just validation that we're talking about Epstein. We're gonna have to wait a while, but eventually justice does come. So this is quite a positive reading. Democrats are going to make sure this story doesn't get dropped from the news. Again, something's going to be coming forward this weekend. Whether we realize its importance or not, that's a little bit questionable, but we will later because it might seem insignificant. It might just be like a person and a date or, a meeting that happened on such and such a thing. And we might not be able to piece it all together yet, but I think that's why the prosecutors are here with the Queen of Wands. And then we get the Sun card, which is bringing light to this. I feel like the Epstein tragedy is heading in the right direction. So that's good. We got guardrails underneath here at the Nine of Wands and messages coming forward with the Nine of Wands and then the Knight of Wands. So that seems pretty good. Okay, so what about the Charlie Kirk murder? Certainly don't endorse any political violence whatsoever. Just to be super clear where my stance is on this. I We got the spy in the camp. Always say it. There's one card that's an assassin in the tarot. It's the Page of Swords. And then we get the Magician underneath, which is oddly used to be my card for Elon Musk when he was in the news all the time. Now, I'm not saying those two are connected. This is just a tarot reading, entertainment purposes only. Could be right, could be wrong. I wonder if we're not going to discover that all of this really was laid out in detail on a social media platform like Twitter. And like the FBI really missed it and dropped the ball on this one. Perhaps it was even reported. Um, I wonder. Now there's so much covering things up that I'm not sure we ever find out the truth if that's what happened until another administration comes along. But we get the Empress card, it could be Russia, it could just be the Empress energy. We get a prosecutorial type energy. I think as investigators really start to dig in, it feels like they do find out things that maybe should have been caught before this happened. The Ace of Pentacles, something new here. Maybe what it feels like is it feels like people actually holding the FBI to account for their mistakes. Um, Bombshells and surprises. It's like the Charlie Kirk faction, which is mostly young people and the right wing of things, like turn on the FBI is what it feels like, and turn on the DOJ. So that's what it feels like. Huge burdens here to overcome. Fiery messages being sent back and forth. This has been happening. We get the Wheel of Fortune. It There's a strong possibility that this really turns against the MAGA wing of the people in Congress and some of the administration, because I do think they're going to discover that this probably was pretty preventable. Yeah, that's what it feels like to me. The exchanging of, I feel like the person that's responsible for this talked about it online somewhere. Maybe not in a public post, but in some private chats, and the private chats were reported and nothing was done. the star card of protection. I do think we will figure this out. So I do think there's um, a lot of stuff that we just don't know yet. But like our intuitions are probably right on this. Something seems off. It seemed too easy to happen. And I think that is going to be hard to explain for the administration why there wasn't enough protection or any protection or just even monitoring of social media platforms. I don't think that magician card was by mistake at all. I do think this really endangers people turning away from the administration and going to something new. Uh, I think prosecutors will be looking into this as they should. I think we'll see fiery messages going back and forth, but I think we'll also learn that there's kind of a big bombshell here waiting, whether it's a manifesto or um, some secret DMs on Twitter or one of the other encrypted messaging app that were reported that nothing got done about. And I definitely think that this person shared his plans with somebody. I don't think this was a completely isolated event. It's going to blow things up. There's a lot of deceit and deception here. We're not being told something. And yeah, the Five of Swords here, the administration is very much wounded. Then we get the Death card followed by Judgment, followed by the Four of Swords. These are pretty horrible cards there. Um, the end of this administration might come. It won't be because of this, but uh, it's possible that this comes this weekend as well. We'll get to his health here in a second. Um, so let's move to this deck here. Okay. We're gonna learn something about some scandals this weekend. And by weekend, I'm including Friday and probably Monday as well. Some scandals. Pam Bondi and Cash Patel, something's up there. Right now, everything's okay, or they think it's okay, but they've been doing things in weird ways. Like, I don't think they've been following protocol. And then the Nine of Pentacles in the upper right, I feel like that's for us, the people, our protection. Yeah, they're teeter-tottering on the brink of this turning really badly against them with the Wheel of Fortune. And yeah, a lot of volatility, the center of the reading of the Moon card. This doesn't bode well. Loss, the Five of Pentacles, and the environment around. And it's a card for the Epstein situation, but just intergenerational relationships, not understanding how younger people communicate. I think that this will come out on Friday morning. By then, who knows, maybe the shooter will be identified by then. But I think it's rumored that it's a college-aged person. So not understanding how to keep track of the dangers there. Um, the administration's worried. And the Death card again. So death is around this administration. So currently, I think things are fairly stable. I think there's a lot of volatility that's going to happen, and people are going to start to realize that our lives are kind of in danger here because they don't know what they're doing. The things that we take for granted, like getting on a train or a plane or stuff, they just don't know what they're doing. Now, we've known that for a while on this channel, but people are going to really start to come to it. They don't know what they're doing about the Epstein situation. There's all this volatility. Even though they have all the information they need, they're not doing anything. And I think it'll turn out in the Kirk assassination that they did have enough information to have stopped this, but it didn't happen. I think the administration's teeter-tottering on failure. I think there's a lot of anxiety around loss there. And I think, they might take a different approach at some point. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody resigns or is fired. Um, that wouldn't shock me. I'm not expecting it, but it wouldn't shock me. They're just illusional and delusional. They're just playing fast and lucky with the truth. That's the part that I think is the most disturbing. And I think that's what we discover. And there just is no stability, and they're not learning anything about the things that are happening behind the scenes that they should actually know, not because they're, violating our privacy, but because they were reported. That's what it feels like to me. All right, let's look at his health, I guess. Will there be changes in the government? It's possible. It wouldn't surprise me either way. The felon doesn't like to admit he's wrong, so uh, firing somebody that's been defending him, I think, is trickier than the first time around when he could fire people that he didn't really want in the first place. We need to know anything about his health this weekend. Is anything going to happen with his health this weekend? The energy around him just feels really muted. I think he's probably stable for now. Uh, Again, I think they're going to keep a close eye on him. When he does a public event, they're trying to keep him shorter. Uh, Somebody might say something with the King of Wands there. We'll have to see. The Sun, ultimately, we get the truth about his health. The question of when. With the Magician at the center of the reading, you know, and then the Nine of Wands. They're trying everything they can to keep him upright. The world's about completion here. I think his life cycle is about to be completed. I don't think it's going to be terribly long. And then we get the Queen of Pentacles. I think he's probably going to be fine this weekend. I don't see it happening this weekend. Um, I think there's stability again because of medicines. Is the reason why he's doing okay. But the completion is going to happen. The life cycle is going to end because eventually the magician just can't do it. And uh, we'll find out things. He'll probably get some sort of treatment this weekend. We'll eventually learn about these things. They are taking precautions to keep him safer with the Nine of Wands. And then the Knight of Swords tells me that uh, they're not going to be able to do it for much longer. There's a lot of fighting, things going on behind the scenes with the High Priestess and bombshells and surprises. His health is going downhill, and you know the the new start is about to happen. Right now, we're just going through this very tough time. We're going to get new leadership. I'm not sure the voters like it, but that's the way the Constitution works. And we have the Ten of Swords here, complete and utter downfall. So, I think I really do think it's just a matter of time. I could be wrong, but it's felt that way for quite a while. And I've always thought around October. So, um, we shall see, I guess. All right. Thank you for watching. I'll be back with another video soon.